We end up with this kind of mantra, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy when, but that never really comes. And finally we start to get older and older and older, and we're still thinking, I only want to be happy, but I'm not there yet.
Welcome back to Inspire Change with Jordan Mulligan. Today's video is sponsored by Huel, and they've just sent me the new Black Edition personalized box, which I'm super excited about. And it says to Jordan, ready for the ultimate meal in a bottle. Get excited to try our most anticipated product yet. Introducing the new Huel Black Edition ready to drink. I'm going to dive into this later on in the video, but thank you so much to Huel for sending this through. I think this is going to be an absolute game changer. But before that, let's dive into it. The world that I'm from, I told you I'm on this kind of spiritual path now. But the world that I'm from was very goal-orientated, business-driven, entrepreneurship, athletes, and hedonistic highs and dopamine hits were the carrot that was dangled as the reward for those things, the flash car, the, like sex, drugs, rock and roll, all that kind of stuff. And we are taught that, I think, especially in today's world of social media, that's the thing that to aspire to, almost like worshipped upon by millions and millions of people. How do you get the switch? I mean, have you seen people from those worlds have that pivotal moment where they understand that actually it's already there if I choose for it to already be there? Like the inner peace and the happiness can already be there if I start to choose that.
Yeah.
And it's not in the things.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question. I've got a few answers for you. It's an interesting question because, I've taught in cities all over the world, like Sydney and London and so on. And sometimes the people listening, their whole life is this kind of worldly ambition. And sometimes it can sort of sound like they're being told, no, like don't do that anymore. But I don't know if I would go to the extreme of saying that. I like the idea of being more informed about spiritual matters and creating, as I said, like a union of living the life that you sort of have the karma to live, but knowing that if you go to the extreme of that, there's no reward in the end. Ultimately, you won't have anything because you won't be prepared for aging, sickness, and death. Because when those things come, you won't be able to do the things that you've been doing. So I feel like people need to know that. But I wouldn't go to the extreme of saying there's not necessarily anything wrong with living that life, providing it's unified with their own internal spiritual development. Otherwise, we're excluding a vast part of society. And I just feel like nobody needs to be excluded, Everybody is welcome. Everybody needs it. And, why not find the magic of unifying your business career with a spiritual life? I think it's possible. But I got this great story, and I was probably young, new, and unskillful. But when I was working in the bank in Sydney, in these corporate settings, you have like a cubicle with a desk. And the bank that I used to work for, they used to have a recruitment program, graduate program, where they would take the cream of Sydney's graduates and then train them, groom them to become the future leaders of the organization. And so these were kind of highly driven people, And I was working at my desk, and one of these graduates came over and leant on my partition and said, "What's your 10-year plan?" Like this. Now, I had just begun to study Buddhism, and the topic I was studying was death. It was my first formal Buddhist studies was on death, which is, to this day, it's one of my favorite meditations. And the only thing that came to my mind, he said, "What's your 10-year goal?" And the only thing that came to my mind was, hopefully, not to be dead. And of course, he's just completely confused by this. Like, it's a kind of crazy thing to say in the office. And then I said, so I'll put it back onto him. I said, "So tell me, what's your plan, your goal?" And he said, "I'm going to be this kind of manager." He had this goal plan. I said, what's your 20-year goal? And would you believe he had a 20-year goal plan? It was to be some regional leader, manager. But he even had a 30-year plan, like he had his entire life mapped out, right? And then he didn't have a 40-year goal. I asked him, do you have a 40-year? And I thought, you know, you can't have much working life ahead of you at 40 years from now anyway, like. And I thought to myself, I didn't say it to him, but I thought to myself, as soon as you reach that 10-year goal, it will be immediately replaced by the 20-year goal. So you will never really have time to enjoy it because you'll be driven on to the next goal. And this will happen all through your life until you're retired and you don't have any purpose anymore. And there's an Indian teacher called Shantideva, ancient 8th century Indian master. And he said, human beings, they're like a horse that's forced to drag a heavy cart. And whenever they stop to enjoy a mouthful of grass, their impatient owner beats them on. And he said, with desire, worldly desire like this, he said, we're like this because we never reach a point where we can just be and just start to enjoy peace and contentment and happiness. Our desire beats us on to the next goal. And what it does in the end is it cheapens our life, because we end up with this kind of mantra that underscores our life. You know, I'll be happy when, but that never really comes. And finally we start to get older and older and older, and we're still thinking, I only want to be happy, but I'm not there yet.
As always, today's video is sponsored by Huel, and today they've sent me their brand new Black Edition ready to drinks. Black Edition Huel is a higher protein content version of their drinks, and they're absolutely amazing. I drink the powdered Black Edition all the time, and I also drink their ready to drinks. So the fact they've combined these two into one is absolutely unbelievable. It has 35 grams of protein, 26 vitamins and minerals. And if I know Huel, it's going to taste great. That's delicious. I'm going to do two. Screw it. Neve's jealous right now behind the camera. Whoa. That tastes like a chocolate brownie. That's incredible. 35 grams of protein, all 26 essential vitamins and minerals, 7 grams of dietary fiber, slow release carbs, omega-3 and 6. Honestly, this stuff is incredible, but the reason that Huel Black Edition Ready to Drink is so good, if you're training, if you're busy, if you're on the go, this has everything that the standard Huel has, but more protein. It has a higher protein content. And for me, when I'm trying to build muscle out here, especially as a plant-based athlete, this stuff is my go-to. And I want to say, this is by far the best tasting Huel. I'm not kidding. This is the best one. Thank you to Huel. If you want to find out more, go to the link in the description. Make these a part of your life. Honestly, they're incredible. Let's dive back into the video.
I mean, you're speaking to somebody who is I'll be happy when, you know, that's something I'm trying to make less a part of that. You know, I do enjoy also the journey. It makes me happy to be in pursuit of something. I find that quite rewarding. Maybe it's because I feel I have a noble goal, so it feels like I'm doing it for a reason. So possibly that's why I enjoy it. But with sort of the typical goals like to win a BAFTA or to do this, you know, for me, that's like, when I get that, I will be happy. And I know that I won't be. Like, I'm very, you know, aware that I won't be. But it's hard to not invest in that in some way, or to let go. I feel that I've been rewarded in life through that need or desire for something, because it's kind of it's pulled me along. It's taken me through difficult situations into better situations. And I guess we're probably talking about finding that peace prior to embarking on those journeys then. But I mean, we spoke about this before, like people from maybe a council estate or someone who's in a difficult job role or supporting their family and their kids, is finding that inner peace prior is very, very difficult. It's a hard situation to, sometimes I feel like it has to be, like you said, a fork in the road at some point, and tragedies hit or something's really happened to somebody to go, right, this is just not for me anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe we reach a conclusion that this is not for me, or we just simply reach the conclusion it's not enough to protect me from emotional or physical trauma. You know, as we mentioned earlier, I think it's just important that our eyes are open to the fact that these things don't necessarily protect us. They function very, very well while we have the physical and mental conditions to be able to do them. But if we put all of our eggs in that basket, which most people do, is nothing unusual, but then when we reach the latter part of our life, if we haven't built up any inner resources, we're not going to have anything to truly rely on. And if those things do, for whatever reason, get taken away from us, we don't want that to also rip away our self-esteem, sense of self-worth and self-confidence, and a general happiness as well.